which he called his magic equations, or he called his medicine. And the ideal behind this is that he is very, very fluidly meshing the idea of Native Americans and spiritualism with modern science. He also wants to do an exoskeleton where he has an arm piece, a fully articulated arm. And a lot of people have did those, as you've seen probably on the show Castle or some photography online, where they do a lot of hydraulic, where they do a lot of gear work arms to make it look like it's enhanced strength or a prosthetic that's using the power of either a spring flywheel or hydraulic pressure to make the arm functional. He wants to go, since Native Americans have more of an organic feel to them, he wants to go with more of an organic look and make artificial muscle myers. He wants to take fibers, which I was going to suggest that he uses bundles of elastic fibers like you find inside of bungee cords, and you take those and you tie them together until you get a big lump in the center and smaller lumps on the outside, and then layer them like in a muscle group and have it so that they're exposed. And he was going to go with the idea that they were something that the Native Americans were growing and then installing into a mechanical device. And that goes, and he's very much pulling on the ideal of that you take the indigenous culture that you're working with or the background for the character and grow forward from that in a science fiction kind of way. You want to say anything else about your stuff? Or?
Well, actually, the character wasn't really Native American.
I thought he was Native American.
No, it's a tribal concept.
Okay.
But it's more of an islander type.
Okay.
Tribal concept. They ocean dwellers. They're otters. Live on the ocean.
Okay.
Same general concept. They come from a tribal background.
Right.
But he grew up as an orphan. Doesn't know a lot about his background, but he gets these ideas.
Okay. So does anyone else have a character concept that they'd like to go over or a device that they would like to work on? Yeah, go ahead, man.
First.
Okay.
Okay. Either or. It's more sort of just a thing that I've been doing with my character concept. There's a guy on my bench here. It's John Gill. He's sort of a steampunk engineer.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And where I got kind of started with that character is sort of a historical thing. I went to University of Missouri at Rolla. Mm-hmm. I went back and looked at the first graduating class, and that's actually where I got the name from. Mm-hmm. And just kind of looking at the historical sources, and like you said, kind of, you're a bartender, so you kind of go with the bartender thing. I'm an engineer. Mm-hmm. So look back, kind of found a little bit of information about an engineer at that time, and then just kind of steampunk it off from there.
All right. So I've usually jumped 3 times. So what was your question, man?
Okay. I told you about my microphone mount mask.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You wanted to talk about how to build. You wanted to do. I think you said your character was supposed to be a heavy smoker, and you didn't have the ability to breathe anymore. Very well, right?
Breathe or talk.
Right.
Or,
so what I suggested to him is that he looks back inside of actual literature to see what type of medical devices that they had inside of the 1800s for somebody that couldn't speak or couldn't hear. There wasn't a lot of stuff for people that couldn't speak, but there was a lot of things for people that couldn't hear. So for him, I suggested that he takes the megaphone off of an old phonograph and actually build that into his mask and take a small speaker and a battery pack, and itself, being period equipment, will do amplification. It'll do focused sound waves, which works really well. He can literally talk into it, and whatever he points it at is going to be able to hear him. And the interesting thing is that whatever he doesn't point it at won't be able to hear him. It's looking back at previous engineering.
yeah.
Won't that be huge, or should he use something like on his on your goggles?
No. I am all about going back and using the actual equipment and having it huge. The good thing about those megaphones is that they actually were curved, so he can actually set it on the back of his neck and have it come from here and set around. And it will be big and bulky, but you want it to be big and bulky. It's a big, impressive prop.
I did decide that for my character it would be hard for him to actually be understood. So if
actually, you'll be surprised that you'll be pretty easily able to be understood with that.
I can scratch that out.
Yeah, I think that Because the amplification of it is, as long as you have enough of an open area inside the mask and you can enunciate, it's going to carry through there really well. Remember, those phonograph horns were designed to pick up the vibration of a needle hitting a wax record. The human voice has so much more push. It'll actually be like having a megaphone in front of you. So whoever you point that at is going to get a very loud version of your voice. You'll probably have to whisper through it so as not to blast people's ears. Especially if you use an amplifier inside and actually use like a voice modulator. You can take, have you seen those toys for like Spy Kids or whatever they are? They have the voice modulators. Take that toy apart and take the voice modulator out of it and build it into the gas mask so that you're speaking into a microphone. And then you can have a power assisted push on that horn and you can get some real loud sound out of it. I do want to talk to you guys a bit about other things that you can do in electronics and stuff like that. How many people here have used Terry? If you look at Terry's goggles there, that actually is a really simplistic circuit. You can pick them up online for not much at all, rip it apart, and use those LEDs anywhere. Those are, I think it has 1 or 2 large red LEDs in there, and then it has the blinking micro yellow LEDs, and it's just a simple circuit on the back. You can actually take the LEDs off, put lead wires on them, and run them all over a costume if you want. Never be afraid to salvage from another piece. This little device is actually one of my biggest sellers. It's a lot of fun. How many of you saw me in the Steampunk fashion show? Alright, this is what shot the fire out of my gun. What this is 2 AA batteries, a glow plug, a switching unit, and a piece of copper tubing. You load it with gun cotton and flash paper, and there's a small glow plug in there that whenever I press the button, ignites the flash paper. Don't be afraid to salvage from other genres. This is a stage magician's device. They normally sell for about $60 inside of a magic shop. I sell them for about $30. But I've retrofitted this to fit inside of guns, inside of other things, and it's a good prop piece. And it's also relatively safe because the fire that comes out of here won't catch. You can hold it in your hand and it won't burn you. The only thing that it will catch on fire is extremely, extremely fine hairs and like white gas, Everclear. Those are things you want to keep it away from. But other than that, it's pretty safe. And you can actually shoot a fireball out from about here to that chair. That's a little tiny ball of fire about that big.
Can we see?
I do not have any flash paper left, actually. I accidentally wrote phone numbers on my flash paper.
Well, you can just copy down the phone numbers and use the flash paper.
Here, does anybody have...
What is flash paper?
Where's it?
And what's that gun cotton?
This is gun cotton, right here. And we'll get a real good sized pop. Does anyone have an ink pen, actually? Oh, wait. I think I have one. Yeah, we'll just pop paper out of it. This will make a fairly impressive little pop, probably. This isn't going to flame like a normal one would. Hopefully this will work.
Not all that. So, and that was a lot of gun cotton for that little piece of paper. If I would have had it wedged tighter and not rolled it, it probably would have landed somewhere over there. Actually, most of the gun cotton didn't even go up because I used too much. But they're handy little devices, and you can take something that's this simple and build it into a prop. Like, well, the gentleman isn't here with a very. You guys have seen him around here with a very large gun.